In this video, we will refresh your memories on properties of rational functions. Remember that a rational function is basically a fractional function. And the most basic one that we've learned previously is f of x equals 1 over x. And that graph is one of our parent functions that looked like this. It had two different pieces. And those pieces were separated by a vertical asymptote at 0. And that was because x could not be 0, because we know we can't have a 0 in the denominator of a fraction. It also had a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So this was at y equals 0, this was at x equals 0. But this is our parent function, so we can use our graph shifting and say, oh, for this graph, we know that this graph is the previous graph, and I've added 5 to the x value, so I'm going to shift this left 5 units. Put my asymptote here, and the graph is still going to look something like this. Notice that the number that's going to make this denominator 0 happens to be this -5. For this third one, I start with the same basic parent function, 1 over x, only I have subtracted 3. So in this case, I am going to have the horizontal asymptote is going to be at -3, and this graph is going to look something like this. But all of our great basic graph shifting will work if we start with a basic parent function there. Now, all rational functions are a polynomial divided by a polynomial, as long as that denominator does not equal 0. So when we want to find the domain, we were going to set the denominator equal to 0, and these are the values that we're going to have to exclude. And more importantly, these are most likely going to be our vertical asymptotes. Now, not all the time. You'll see that in just a second. Sometimes I have a hole in the graph. So once I factor the numerator and the denominator, if I cancel any of those factors, then I'm going to have a hole. And that's why sometimes setting the denominator equal to 0, it might be an excluded value, but it might not be a vertical asymptote. It may actually be a hole. From that, if that's what we do, we factor it, then we're always going to work from the simplified fraction after that. So vertical asymptotes are where the denominator is equal to 0 after you have simplified it. Horizontal asymptotes are equations of the form y equals 0. And in college algebra, the way that we talked about this was looking at the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator. So the degree of the denominator we're going to call d, and the degree of the numerator we'll call n. If the denominator the degree is greater than the degree of the numerator, then we have a horizontal asymptote at 0. If the degree of the denominator is less than the numerator, then we're not going to have any horizontal asymptote. And if the degrees are the same, we're going to have a ratio of the lead coefficients, so we're going to have something like a over b for our horizontal asymptote. And lastly, we're going to have an oblique asymptote if we're top-heavy by exactly 1. And in order to find that, you can use synthetic division or long division and just neglect the remainder. So how are we going to do all these things? Oh, actually, I have a couple more here. If we want to find out if it's going to cross an asymptote, when we have a horizontal or oblique asymptote, we're just going to set the function equal to those and solve and see if it does, in fact, cross. And if we want to find an x-intercept, as always, we're just going to set y equal to 0 and define in the y-intercept, we're going to let x equal 0. And then if we need to, we'll plot some extra points. So I know that's a quick refresher. Let's just do a couple of quick examples. In this particular case, I'm going to factor my r of x. The numerator is going to become x plus 2 times x minus 2, because it's a difference of 2 squares. And my denominator is going to be x minus 5, x minus 2. So our domain, if I set my denominator equal to 0, I'm going to get x cannot equal 5 and x cannot equal 2. I notice that this x minus 2 cancels. So that means I'm going to have a hole when x is 2. And since the second piece, this x minus 5, is still remaining, this means you're going to have a vertical asymptote at x equals 5. So the vertical asymptote equation is x equals 5. Our new function, our reduced function, is x plus 2 over x minus 5. The whole, we know if x is 2, then r of 2 in our reduced form, right here, is going to give us 4 over negative 3. So our whole is at the point 2, negative 4/3. Okay, how do we know if there's any horizontal asymptotes or if there are oblique asymptotes? Well, let me write this down because it's on the other slide here. We have r of x equals x plus 2 over x minus 5. And we'll notice that the degree of the numerator is 1 and the degree of the denominator is also 1. So the horizontal asymptote is going to be the ratio of the lead coefficients, which in this case is 1 over 1, or just y equals 1. We know that if it has a horizontal asymptote, it's not going to have an oblique asymptote. How do we know if it's going to cross the asymptote? Well, that's when we set this function, x plus 2 over x minus 5, equal to our horizontal asymptote, which is 1. Cross multiplying here, we get x plus 2 equals x minus 5. Or 2 equals negative 5. Of course, we know that 2 does not equal negative 5, so it does not cross the asymptote. For our x-intercepts, we're going to set y equal to 0. So if I set my function equal to 0, I'm going to get x plus 2 equals 0, or x equals negative 2. So negative 2, comma 0. The y-intercept, I'm going to let x equal 0. That's going to give me f of 0, or r of 0, excuse me. This is our reduced. Everything we do is from this reduced piece. So if I plug in 0 here, I'm going to get 2 over negative 5, and I get the ordered pair 0, negative 2/5. So we're going to put that all together on this graph. So you might have to back up a little bit, but our vertical asymptote was at 5. So I'm going to draw that in here in red. And our horizontal asymptote was at 1. I'll put that in blue. So this is y equals 1, This is x equals 5. We know that we're going to have a hole at 2, -4/3. So I'm going to put the hole about here. I'm going to cross the x-axis at -2, 0. I'm going to cross the y-axis at 0, -2/5. So it should be clear that this piece of the graph looks something like this. And then for the other piece of the graph, we might not be clear on whether or not it's above or below. So let's have one extra point. So let's just, we know it doesn't cross, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's plug in, say, 7 and see what we get. So r of 7 is going to be 7 plus 2, which is 9, and 7 minus 5, which is 2. So we get 4.5, 4.5. It'll be right there. And then I can kind of sketch this last piece in. So as long as we go through each one of those steps, we should be able to sketch and we won't have to pick up our graphing calculator. So we've got one more here. Let's go through. You might want to try this one on your own. I'll write down the answers here, but pause your video and see if you can find each of these pieces and put it all on the graph. So go ahead and pause. Okay, just real quick, I first factored this polynomial and I noticed that the x plus 5's canceled, which meant that I was going to have a hole at -5. And I wrote down my resulting f of x that's been reduced. Because I have an x minus 5 in the denominator, I set that equal to 0 or not equal to 0, and I get x equals 5 for our vertical asymptote. For my hole, I plug -5 into my reduced function, and I get -5, -1/10. Are there any horizontal asymptotes? Well, in this case, the degree of the numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator, and so it's the ratio of the lead coefficients, or in this case 1/2. If I want it to know if it's going to cross the horizontal asymptote, I set the function equal to the horizontal asymptote and solve. In this case, I get a not true answer, so it does not cross. To find an x-intercept, I let y equal 0, and I get x equals -7. So my y-intercept is -7, 0. I can also find my y-intercepts by letting x equal 0. If I let x equal 0, I'm going to have 0 plus 7 over 2 times 0 minus 5, or 7 over -10. So 0, -0.7. So going back to the beginning, where was my vertical asymptote? Was at 5 again, just by fluke. This is the equation x equals 5. We had a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1/2. We ended up with a hole at -5, -1/10. We had a x-intercept at -7, 0 here. We had a y-intercept at -0.7. And again, you can kind of see that this piece would go here. I've got this hole. I'm going to make it bigger just so you can see it. And then on the other side, if I don't know, let's just find what f of 6 is. So f of 6 is going to be 6 plus 7 over 2 times 6 minus 5, 13 over 2, or 7.5. So putting this at 6 and then 6, 7 right here, we might get something that looks like this. Okay. Just a couple of quick notes. My first note would be, don't rely on your graphing calculator to graph these, because oftentimes if you have more than one vertical asymptote, for example, like this, you'll be able to see, for example, 2 of the pieces, possibly, but your third piece may be out of your window range. So if you were looking at a -10 to 10 window, you might only see this. So you have to know enough about these to know that there's another piece. And my second thing I would say is, if it does cross an asymptote, so in that step where we said, does it cross the asymptote, and we set the function equal to either the oblique asymptote or the horizontal asymptote. We did 2 examples here where they did not cross, but if it does cross, you might get something like x equals 3 as your result, and that would tell you this crosses at 3, crosses at x equals 3. All right, in our next video, we'll talk about polynomial inequalities.